Hello everyone, my name is Brian, also known as Farron on the forums if you know me. Welcome to the theme workshop. I am here today, to try and teach you guys how to theme in BigBox. So if you have any questions, the whole goal of this stream, although I know it's the first one, so since it's the first one, forgive me if I seem a little flustered, or if you can't see me or hear me, let me know. I think I have everything right. It's very hard to know from my side. So the whole point of this type of live stream is sort of twofold. So the first one is if you are interested in BigBox theming at all and you're sitting there wanting to know how to do your own theme, you can come here, ask me questions. I can answer them for you. I can dive into the code and try to help you guide you through the process of something you might have trouble with. If you're not a themer but you have something that you want to see, you can always let us know. Let me know if there's something specific that you wish you could do in BigBox or you wish that you could have, and I could try to create it right in front of you. Other than that, I do have a list of themes that I'd always wanted to get around to and just haven't had the time, and so I will be building those themes up, filling the time in this live stream, and then I'll be able to provide all of those files on the forums for everyone to play around with, and hopefully through that experience you will also learn how to theme your own BigBox theme. And you can edit anything that I provide and create a theme exactly the way that you want. How's everybody going there? I can see the chat moving. Flavio, Dave, how you doing, Dave? Sorry if I'm pronouncing anyone's name wrong. Nicholas, Mikey. Did you say Vacant Lights? How you doing? All right, so I'm assuming that everybody that's here knows what LaunchBox is, and obviously knows what BigBox is. And Flavio, why does your BigBox always start up on one of your consoles? That is a good question. Hey Neil. Hey, both Neils. How are you guys doing? There are ways that you can switch how your BigBox starts, and it's just within the options itself. I don't want to fully go into it, but just go into your options and you'll see your list of possible places that you could start your BigBox on. And I'm sure somebody else in the chat, if maybe you can help them out a bit more on that. What else do we got here? Spooky, is this anything like a bento box? I guess you could create a bento box BigBox theme, but other than that, I don't think that's what you're looking for. And Jimmy Cosmo, first, mad respect for your LaunchBox and BigBox. I am part of the team, but I will relay that message to the rest of the team. Will there be a gun dedicated theme where you can navigate through light gun? That would be a great suggestion that you should post on our Bitbucket. That'd be kind of cool. Have like a light gun theme, but sadly I will not be doing that today, and I don't think that's currently possible. Let's see, okay. So let's get started. And if anybody has any questions along the way, or anything to do with mostly theming, let's try to keep it. I can definitely answer other questions, but if you have a question specifically about theming, I can always answer that for you. And so there was a theme that I wanted to get started on first because I know it's kind of easy. I think in my head it's easy. Of course, who knows what it's going to be like. It's also a 4x3 theme. I've been wanting to get out a 4x3 theme for a while, and I might do a few more of those because I know BigBox could definitely use some more of those. And sorry if I miss any of your comments, but here we go. So there was a theme that I created back in 2018, and it was called RetroTastic. If you've heard of it or if you've seen any pictures of it, it's basically like one of my ideas of what I'd want to see in a BigBox theme. It's basically like I want to feel nostalgic for when I was like a kid. I want to feel like I'm on some old CRT monitor. I want to see the console graphics and that sort of thing, and you know, it worked out well. It took a very long time because that theme, I think for the most part, I had coded it in about 2 weeks, and then it took maybe 4 to 5 months to do the images for it after that. Am I missing any questions? I don't think so. At all. Okay, so in saying all of that, at the time I thought, okay, you cannot switch the aspect ratio of that because of the images. The images are in 16:9. But oh, maybe I should stop that. Yeah, the images are in 16:9, so I thought, you know, I do want this sort of experience on a 4x3 on my CRT monitor. So I had created this little theme very poorly at the time, and I thought, you know, maybe I should see if I can recreate that. And so I'm going to say this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a couple things here. I'm going to use a tool by Y2Guru, also known, or Dave, also known as Y2Guru. He's created a tool on our forums. You can go check it out. It's called the Community Theme Creator. And what's great about this, it's almost like building your theme like you were building it in Photoshop or something like that. Because of that, it's a lot easier to do in that program. It also does a lot of things that you can't normally do because it utilizes the plugin features of LaunchBox to accomplish it, and a BigBox, obviously. And so it's a great tool to use. I'm going to use it. 2 things here before I do that. One, it is just made by Dave. He is the man for the Community Theme Creator. It's not an official tool, but it's definitely an amazing tool, as you'll see. I think I have a link in the description here. If there is a description, I can't tell. You can go check it out. 2, I am using a slightly newer version that's in beta. And so this version will be coming out anytime now in like a month or so, 2 months. I don't want to give a timeline really, but it's coming out and it's looking really great. So this is sort of like a sneak peek to both. So let me see. Let's start off. So this is basically my old theme that I just found 5 minutes before I pressed the live button. We're going to see what we got. I kind of remember what it's supposed to look like, and I created a bunch of images. And it's essentially a giant... It's going to be just a giant CRT monitor. That's what the whole theme's going to be like. God, I hope I did these images right in a long time. Where does it say that? I made this in 2018. Looks like July. Okay, so yeah, this looks alright. So it's got like a CRT bezel with a little overlay. That's right. This version is not yet released, so it is like a sneak peek here. And saying that, let me make sure that I'm opening the correct version here. I might already have it open. No, here it comes. All right, there it is. Beautiful. This was the RetroTastic theme, which I did a year ago. I had ported it over to the community theme creator in one of my personal theme streams. So this is a new beta build that's not currently out. It looks different, but functions in similar ways, at least the menu. And it's got a bunch of new features that are great to, get used to now. And when it comes out, you'll be ahead of the game. So here we go. I wish I had something to show you. Maybe this is what I'll do. And I hope I don't have it open, to be honest. I hope I don't have BigBox open. Oh yeah, here it comes. I'm dealing with multiple virtual desktops here. All right, look, playing around with this theme. Let's take a look if I have it. Look at all this mess of themes here. What do I call it? RetroCRT. Let's see what it actually looked like. What did I actually accomplish a long time ago? So it's got the 4x3. Look at this. It's not quite functioning properly. You could see some of the logos going up, not in the over the screen instead of under it. Not really sure what I don't think I ever finished this, to be honest. Let's go and see what I got in here. Okay, and now it's just broken. So you can see that this theme did not age gracefully. Let's fix that. Let's fix that, and we're gonna do it without looking at any code whatsoever. So let me create a new theme here. I'll just call it the same thing. This is a 4x3 theme, designed in the shape of a CRT TV. All right. Now up here, I can actually just set an aspect ratio, 4x3. Simple enough, but what it does is it restricts the aspect ratio, so even if you're on a different screen, it'll still show up as a 4x3 and just create black bars in the other areas. You could alternatively create a theme that stretches with this button, and that would just fill up the space no matter what size screen. But then of course you would have to really test all the different sort of varieties of screen sizes, aspect ratios, and just make sure your theme actually looks right in all of those. It's been done. There are themes on the forums that do that, which is really cool when you get away with that. For now, 4x3 is what we'll do. And let's go to the platform that I grew up with as a kid, the Nintendo Entertainment System. And we're going to see here. So down here you see a whole bunch of circles. Each one represents a view in BigBox. So the way BigBox works is that there's a number of view files, and each file represents a view that you would go through when you within BigBox itself. So if I just call out, I can also click here and you'll see the name of all of them. So you can see that there's 4 different platform views that have wheels that I can create a theme for. So I could create 4 of them, and a user could cycle through all 4 and have 4 different views per theme. Yeah, Neil, it visually changed, I think, recently, right, Dave? You changed it recently, and while it visually looks different, like we can minimize this, which helps increase the space. Functionally, it's very similar. So let's take a look. I'm going to be focusing on probably 3 views, right? We need to have a platform view for people to cycle through a platform. We need to have a platform view that has text instead of like clear logos or something like that, whatever I decide on. We need to have a game view, as well as a game view that uses clear logos, let's say, and then maybe a game view that uses a text list, something like that. And then I think that's pretty much a theme right there. Maybe I'll throw in the system view, so when you're going through the options, I could theme that as well. So let's take a look. Where should we start? Let's start with the platform view. That's simple enough, right? Platform view number 1. And we'll go straight into edit it. You'll see it switch to full screen. I've got a window here, which houses all of the menu options that I'm allowed to have. I can add, remove elements, and then I've got a nice Photoshop-esque screen here in a 4x3 that I can, a canvas that I can move elements around. So how are we going to do this? You can see that it did drop one element. Actually drops the elements already in the view that are mandatory. So it's smart enough to know that this view needs a wheel, which basically like the menu system, and it just puts it in there for me. In this case, what I'm going to do, everything works on an XY coordinates. So let's say the top corner, left corner, that's where it's going to be positioned based on the XY coordinate numbers. Of course, X is left and right or horizontal, and Y is up and down or vertical. And so I'm basically saying I've pushed this 500 to the left and I pushed this 432 down. So if I just put that at 0, you'll see it move to the top corner there. There it goes. And this wheel has a bunch of properties. So here's the element, and then down here are all of the properties that I can go through, and you can see that there's just so many, and these properties are very specific to that element. If I click this button up here, you'll see all of the different kinds of elements that I can add into this theme if I wanted to. The boxes up here are what I guess we're calling parent items. They're elements that you can stick other elements inside of. And there's reasons for each one that you're wanting to do that, and you'll see me use this a bunch during this stream. Just to give an example, this one here is called dock, and you can see that it looks like a picture of 3 elements next to each other stacked horizontally. So if I put 4 elements inside of a dock, it would then organize it left to right. You know, just stack them horizontally for me. And then I can decide how far apart do I want those items to be. And so they're extremely useful. But let's take a look. This wheel, I just want it to be the full size, I guess. What is the size of this actually? I don't even know. I think it's what's a 14 by 40, I think. 1440 by 1080. I've got a 1080 screen, so that makes sense. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that the theme creator will keep the size and positioning of all elements on the screen, as far as I know. Is it every element, Dave? I think it's every element. And so if somebody were to take this and try to use it on a 720p screen or a screen with 4K, everything should look the same. One of the problems that Windows has always had is not keeping the same size of text lists. That's always been a big thing, and so using this tool just will solve that problem. So basically what I did was I created a wheel, or I took the wheel and I'm going to make it the full size of the entire theme. And then later what I'll do is, no, let's see what we got. So wheel type. I want to make it vertical images, something similar to what the RetroTastic theme does. And then I want to look at all these things that I could do. The main ones here are banner, clear logos, devices, and fan art. Now know that all of these things a user would have themselves. I'm not going to be including any images. I don't think I'll be including any images in this one other than the theme images. And so what LaunchBox does is it downloads a lot of this stuff automatically for you, and all I'm doing is saying, hey, use the user's clear logos for their platform. And then there, and I want it to be vertical, so the menu will go up and down. And then we have a lot of sizes here, and I don't want to go through every single one. If anybody has any questions about each one, let me know. But what I'll do instead of tackling each one of these is I'll just choose one of these assists. So he designed these little assist buttons and gives us the ability to just click one, and we're good. Oh, 640 by 480 on a 34-inch. That's awesome. I'd love to see this theme on a screen like that. All I have is this old, I literally have an old CRT monitor from when I was a kid, back in the 90s. And it was probably a cheap monitor then. Surprisingly, it still works. I guess those cheap monitors are robust enough. Those tubes. Okay, so unfortunately this is the last thing that you won't be able to see. You cannot currently see the actual wheels in the theme itself, or in this theme creator yet. But what I can do is I can publish the theme, and then we'll see what the actual clear logos will look like. Let's add some images. As I mistakenly, no, I did do image, didn't I? Okay, I'm also going to make it full screen. Hey, thanks, Colin. Yeah, it's been a crazy ride. And I'm so happy to be part of the team, and there's so much cool stuff coming down the pipeline, that's for sure. Yeah, can you really game on anything else? I guess we have to, but if you have the space, get a CRT monitor. Get one of those good ones that we couldn't possibly afford back in the day. Alright, so I'm just going to... You notice I added an image, and the image is just a generic image one, and what I'll do is I'll just call it overlay as an example. And what I'll use it for is there is an image. So you can see there's an image type. It gives us 3 different kinds of images that we can use. If you were to do metadata, what it would try to do is it would try to link like a text binding. So let's say the name of a platform, so the Nintendo Entertainment System, it would then look into a folder for an image called the Nintendo Entertainment System, and it would display that image here. And that's if you're using metadata. And you'll see that there's tons of metadata options that you can choose from here. Instead, what I'll do, I'm looking to just have a static image. So I don't have any folders in the media folder. So in order to solve that, I will click the browse button here. And it goes straight to the place where all of my project is. So you can see here, Community Theme Creator, My Theme Projects, the RetroCRT theme that I'm creating, and then Media. Inside of Media, you basically have to organize everything so that there's just one folder for your images, or one folder. You can't have a folder within a folder here. So in my case, I'm just going to create a folder called Theme, which is where I'm going to store any of my theme images. You can call this folder anything that you want, really. And then before, earlier, I had this one, which had a whole bunch of images and stuff in it. Let me just grab these 2 for now. There you go. And when I go back here, I see a theme folder now. There you go. It's that smart. And there's the 2 files that I just dragged right in. So in this case, I believe it's the bezel. And since I called it the bezel and not the overlay, let me just call it the bezel. There you go. And hey, why don't I just show you guys this? So there is this button called New, And this is a great way to group if you're really big on organization like I am most of the time. You can create a new group, and it just allows you to organize all of your elements, which is great for if you have a giant project that you're doing and you're trying to create your perfect theme and you can't seem to find all of your images or your elements. So let me grab that, put it up here. I should probably name that, shouldn't I? And I'll name this my overlays. I'm not sure if I'm going to have another one. Maybe I will. Why don't I do that? Copy this. I'm going to paste that here. And, scan lines. Why not put a scan line since I have that? I've already set up everything else. What I do want to do is change this to uniform to fill. The best way I can describe stretch is these are XAML standards. So you can see there's 4. Fill will take your image and it will fill up whatever the space you decide in, like exactly, like it'll just stretch it and fill the allotted space. None won't put any stretch at all. So if your image is 680 by 480, 640 by 480, it will display it and not make it any bigger or smaller. Uniform will fill the space but not change the aspect ratio of your image. And then uniform to fill will fill the whole space while not changing the aspect ratio. So part of your image may get cut off if it's not the same size as your image, or the same size if your image is not the same size as your element. All useful in different ways. In this case, I'm just going to do uniform to fill, because in my case I have a 1920 by 1080 scanline image that I got, and I'm just going to have it so it fills the whole space without stretching. And Flavio, where does one get the images? So which kind of images are you talking about? And Bobby, you're saying you bought BigBox some months ago. You're very happy with it. Well, thank you very much. I will definitely relay that to the team if they're not watching. I have a question. Are you working about marquees in 1920 by 360? Ah, yeah. So that is definitely something that I want to do, and I've always been wondering, because I've always wanted a screen that's like those marquees, but I don't, like, as far as I'm aware, there's not like a standard. So everybody's got like a different size marquee monitor. And so I'm not sure exactly how it works or how you would theme something to every single size. And then I know that some of them are just like cut regular LED or LCD screens. So the monitor thinks that it's like a 1080p screen, but it's not. like half, or it only has like a quarter of the space left, and they cut the rest of the LCD panel off. But I don't know, maybe somebody can teach me a little more about that later, and I can try to create different sort of XAML files that you would be able to use for every situation, marquee situation. That seems like one of those tricky ones. But if you do have a specific case, I can definitely help you with that. Maybe if you want to provide me with some more information about your 1920 by 360. Is that what Windows views? Does Windows view 1920 by 360? Like actually has a monitor that size within its display panel? And Flavio, you're talking about system images, so just like regular platform images, PlayStation 2 or whatever, and I guess you're talking about like the clear logos and maybe the banner images, that sort of thing. And if that's what you're talking about, so LaunchBox automatically will download a bunch of those things. It has like an automatic download when you add it to LaunchBox itself. And then alternatively, as a theme creator, if you want more control, you can go and create your own. And or there's resources on the net. As a theme creator over the last 5 years or so, you know, I've been gathering logos here and there and images and especially on our forums. So if you go to our forums in the download section, there are categories there where you could download a ton of cool systems and stuff and different kinds of logos. And there's you could download whole hardware sets that you could use, and you can include it into your theme. Oh, and Retro, you're saying that there's a thread already on the forums. Yeah, I know it's a popular type of request. Yeah, people have. So it depends on what kind of theme that you want, but generally if you just wanted any images, you know, LaunchBox will download those automatically as you add the systems to your library. And that's what I'm hoping for with this theme. Then I don't have to include any images, even though I could. It just uses the user's clear logos. Oh, nice, Retro. Yeah, there, it already exists. Yeah, I'd love to take a look at that. Maybe one day I'll get different size marquees and have a cab. That's like the dream. Have an arcade cabinet. One day. Right now I just have the TV just on a old desk. And I just play on the desk. It's the cheap arcade cabinet, I guess. Okay, where am I? Scan lines and bezels. And what I'll do here is I'm going to import a video. Now the video is always the touchiest subject for me when I'm creating a theme like this because you'll see here there's user-defined video and there's also selected item video. Whereas user-defined video is a video that you add that you're including with the theme, and you point directly to some video. And a selected item video is, let's say, the video that the user would have for a particular system. So I do have a bunch of videos for my system, so let's take a look. If I just click there, you'll see the Nintendo systems videos played. Now I know that the video that I downloaded is not a 4:3 video. I'm downloaded a 16:9 video. So I have the option of doing like what we used to see in the old days, making it so it respects the aspect ratio. But okay, let me see what I can do here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position it probably about here. Can't really see it, so let me drag this over here. Maybe 40, 35. Looks good. And then this one I'll do maybe 40. Okay. And Jose, you're saying, am I ETA Prime's cousin? No, but that would be pretty cool if I was, wouldn't it? But yeah, I'm his cousin from Canada, long lost cousin. Okay, so you want me to move the... Okay, look at this. See what happens when I do this? See how it stretches? Well, thank you, Dave, for the permission there. And so, perfectly fine. You'll notice a couple things. Although I'm noticing that the scan lines aren't doing anything, are they? Because I got the bezel and forgot to switch over to scan line. There you go. Ah. There you go. Are you sure, Dave? 54. Oh no, I had it at 35, didn't I? And then These are just little bugs that will get fixed up. Okay, so I think 1300 would be pretty good, right? Oh, thanks for stopping by, Alucard. Let's say 1350. Oh. Dave, yeah, I'll stick with the numbers, that's fine. Something that'll get fleshed out and we won't have to worry about in the final release. 1360, yeah, about that, let's say, and then height I'll do about 1000, see what happens there. Perfect. So I could basically leave it like that, and this is the dilemma that I always have. Do I leave it like this, stretched, knowingly that it's stretched, but you know, if you have a 4:3 video, it'll look nice? Or do I switch it so there's a property here that I can change? If I can find it. Aspect ratio, do I keep it or do I stretch it? I can keep it and it's going to respect it, and there's going to be black lines on top and the bottom. What do you guys think in the chat? If you had this theme, or any theme really, are you wanting to see the black lines? Or are you just wanting the full picture? And you can let me know. And you know what? When I get around to releasing this theme, you guys can just click the button that you want here, republish the theme. Or you can dive into the XAML and switch it as well. I got one for full picture. And what I ended up doing was I ended up clicking that stretch button on the Retrotastic theme, and it's also something that you can change on any theme really. If you downloaded a theme from the forums and you saw that this was happening, you would just find the video piece of code, and there would be an option there that says like video stretch, and you would just switch that to stretch, or I can't remember what it was, stretch or full or something, or keep. That's literally what that is. We got always wanting to keep the aspect ratio. A few more for keeping the aspect ratio. Yeah, here's the thing, there's no wrong answer here. That's why it's so confusing. Like I can't do both. As a theme creator, you want to do both, but you can't. You gotta you gotta pick one. That's a great idea, Mark, and it's something that I would personally love to see. To put the power in the theme creator, right? To have us get the ability to create theme specific options. Yeah, you never know, one day I could do like scan lines on and off, aspect ratio, keep and stretch. Yeah, for sure. All right, this is what I'm going to do. I'll keep it for now. So far, what do we have? Of course, one thing that you have to keep in mind whenever you're building a theme is that you'll see here that there's just a random order that I placed these elements. But this order actually matters. So it's just like Photoshop, if you know Photoshop. The order of these elements, or in Photoshop they would be called layers, matters. The higher it is physically here, the more in front of the other item it will be. So if I put this bezel behind the selected item video like this, you'll see that the video is actually on top now. And you can see the edges. The bezel just is behind it. Now I'm going to move it back on top. And there you go. So if I were to keep this, then I would never be able to see this wheel because it's underneath this video. You'll actually see it up here and down here. So I'll have to remember to keep that on top there. There we go. And so far so good. So literally this could be our theme, right? You pick the wheel and then you see the video. The problem is the wheel will never go away. Like you'll always have this wheel right in front of your face. Yeah, Jose, I wish that there was more 4x3, but you're right. Us people playing on those 4x3 monitors, we're just a small niche. So we gotta band together and try to improve it, and this is sort of my first attempt to try to get another 4x3 screen or theme out there. Yeah, so this wheel would just never go away. It would always appear on top of this video. So there are ways around that. The way that I'm going to tackle this right now is through animation. So we do have, a pretty full-fledged ability to animate different elements in this theme. And you'll see at the bottom of basically every element down here, there's an animate section. And if I'm going to try to visualize what I want to do, I would say this: I want you to see the menu. The menu is going to be there, and I'm going to see cycling through the wheels, the clear logos, and eventually I'm going to stop on a wheel, and after a certain amount of time, I don't know, 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds, that wheel is going to fade away. And then I'm gonna see this video. Something like that. So I could do it that way. Or I could put the wheel actually behind the selected item video and then animate the video on and off. So that's a way I could do this. I think I'm gonna do the wheel. Let's start with that. So let's look at the wheel. Now you'll see right away there's something called run animation. So it's basically saying what is going to trigger this animation for you. When the user does one of these three things, an animation will happen. So the three things here are when the view immediately shows up. So when someone opens up BigBox and it goes to the platform view, immediately do this animation. And so that's one trigger. The second one is during selection. So as soon as a user clicks a button and switches the theme, trigger that animation right away. And then the last one is once a user has selected an item and it's stopped on the item for a sufficient amount of time, then trigger this animation. So I'm going to use actually two of these to accomplish what I need. So when a user does animation, so when a user chooses or starts cycling through his menu, right away, start time at 0 second start time, so right away, I want to fade from whatever opacity it was in to 100% opacity. So as soon as you start moving the menu, I want that clear logo to appear. Within how long? Maybe 0.25 seconds, which is 250 milliseconds. And then these ease functions are those things that instead of it just being linear, which you could use by not choosing an easing function, you could choose it to start off slower and then jump faster. You can choose to bounce. You can see there's a lot of easing functions. Lots of them have specific types of functionality for different reasons. A lot of them are really good if you're going to move an object around. You can get it to bounce really cool. In our case, we're just doing a simple fade, so you can actually just not use it. But let me use it so you guys can see what we're dealing with here. So sine ease, which is one of the main ones, let's say, I can ease it in, so it starts slow and then goes fast. I can ease it out, starts fast and then kind of slows down at the end. Or I can start slow, go fast, and then fade out. I don't know, let's do that. We don't want it to repeat, right? We just want it to do it once, and we don't want it to reverse. So like, I don't want it to fade in and then fade out, although there might be certain circumstances that you would want to do that. So that's it. So during selection, I've done that, and you can see that it's bound to this box. And if I wanted to do more animations here during selection, I can just click the next box and then start all over again, animate something else with this element. You know, it's very versatile. And so I'm just going to press OK, and you can see that there's my animation. If I want, I could duplicate it, make a copy. I can edit some stuff here. I can edit these repeat and auto reverse functions. I can even change when it's going to trigger here. In my case, hey, why don't I duplicate it? Just so you can guys see what that's going to look like. Makes a second option. I basically want to do the reverse of what I just did when someone once selects an item. So if they stop on an item, stop on the PlayStation, I want to trigger this animation. I'm going to do it in reverse. They choose the item. So imagining they're choosing the item, and then I want that whatever the opacity was at, which I know it's going to be at 100%, I want it to now fade away to 0%. So I just hit 0. It's going to do immediately once I've stopped onto a specific item, and it's going to go away within 2.5 seconds. Maybe I should do a little more time than that. So maybe I want it to stay for a second. So they stop on an item, a second passes, and then it fades away. So it's not as immediate. And then maybe I should make it fade out, I don't know, 0.5 seconds. Oh, maybe 3.5. There we go. And it's all about just playing around with the numbers, and then we'll go test it out and see what it looks like. So there we go. I think we basically have what we want. It's not perfect. There are some problems, but what are they? We can't 100% know what they are until we actually see what it is. Now, when I press that save button, it saves all my changes, so don't forget to do that when you're using this program. Because now it's saved, and even if I crash this program, all of my work will be still good to go. But what I'll need to do is I'll need to publish this theme. So I'm a little scared actually, so let me change the name of this to just like RetroCRT 2. Oh, of course, I cannot do it yet. It's being blocked. Oops. Alternatively, what I really am scared about, to be honest, is not losing this folder. So I'm just going to rename this one, which, of course, at the very beginning, you realized did not work at all, as it's so old. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to publish so that we can just see what it looks like. Do I have BigBox open? I don't think it really matters, but I don't. So I go here and I just hit the publish theme button. And what that does is just going to go through, and it's just going to place my theme right in the themes folder within BigBox itself. And it's done. You saw that little notification there. It happened really quick. And it's saying, yeah, it's done. Go ahead and use the theme. I've only done the platform view, so what it really does, and the way that BigBox works, is that if I don't have like any of these files here, like the wheel views or that sort of thing, it's not going to bring over any of those. And I'm really going to have this platform view, and then it's going to use the default view, the default theme for anything else that it needs to. So let's open this up. And for this theme, I should get rid of this this startup video just for simplicity's sake. One thing that I think I did, although I don't know if you guys want to hear it, I turned down the desktop audio. Let me bring that back. There we go. You can hear And there you go. So it's actually showing the theme now, and look at that. Cycling through the clear logos. And it works, right? It's not pretty. And because I published it, I can now see some of the things that I want to do. Like I want to make the clear logo maybe a bit darker. Like as it is or darker. I want to make the clear logo smaller a little bit. It is quite large on the screen. Although, you know, might be good for those big, so for those really small screens. Hey Butcher, how you doing? You can see that the theme itself, that's interesting. Why do I have a 4x3 of this one? So you're seeing that that the clear logo appears above the video, and then sometimes the video kind of distorts it a bit. So there's a couple different ways I could deal with that. You know, Butcher, I can't complain. Doing pretty well. And a day that I'm streaming is a wonderful day. Indeed. So there you go. I basically published this theme and I saw what it looks like, and I've got an idea. Okay, there's some changes I want to make. So let me go back in here. One of the changes I can make, I could either fade out the video or put a black rectangle on top of the video with the wheel, and then that would make it so the wheel would always be on top of a black background, and then so there's no distortion. But of course, if you had a clear logo that's just black, you wouldn't be able to see it. So that's obviously a problem that a theme creator would have to think about. Or you can do what I did in the RetroTastic theme, although I don't know if I still have. Let me see if I still have those files. Did I put them in here somewhere? Huh, okay. To be honest, I don't even remember what I did here. It's been 3 years since I've made the original theme. Okay, let's go into images. Platforms? Game. What's in game? What did I do? Interesting. Okay, I kind of remember why I did that, although it was for like silly reasons. Maybe I'll just do it for fun, just to show you guys what's possible. I think at the time I was just sort of fooling around, trying to do the best thing that I can. Yeah, I was definitely not using these files, but it's good to know that I still have them. So these are the files for RetroTastic. And this is what took so long. And there was, I think, 4 of us that ended up making over 150 backgrounds for the RetroTastic theme. And you can even see that I had some alternatives here. Like if you wanted the European SNES, you could transfer it out. Okay, enough about RetroTastic. Let's take a look. I had... did I have a video? That's right, so I had a video that looked like this, and I just made it play loop over and over again. Like this. And then that would play in the background over the video. And then I switched that out to a GIF, I think, at some point. But I can't remember. I don't know if you're still around, Dave. Is it that a video would actually be better performance than a GIF? Or would a GIF be more performant than this video? playing in the background? I don't even remember. I don't even know anymore. So I could do both. I think I have a GIF of this. So, I mean, let's use this. I've got it in front of me. Yeah. So something I didn't realize at the time was that a GIF, the way it's implemented, those old files seem to have some sort of memory issues when using in a theme. Okay, what else can I bring over actually, now that I'm sitting here in this image? So there's logos, icons. What is this? Icon? Oh my god. The ESRB rating. The genre. I don't even think I've used any of these. Let me bring over star rating. Play mode I think is outdated now. It's been replaced with max player. That's okay. I'll bring those over. I'll bring the logos over. That's fun. Why not? There's a memory leak with the GIF playback plugin. Oh, and every frame of a GIF has to be cached separately. Have you guys noticed, like in some programs, when you try to display a GIF, the first time it plays back is like super duper slow? Like it's trying to cache every single frame, like you're saying, Neil. And it's like in Discord, in Teams. I used to use Microsoft Teams a lot. What's a GIF? Yeah, it's basically a really old way of animating an image. And there's a lot of newer ways to do it now, and just I don't think any of them have really become really popular. Not sure why. It's the old way we used to watch movies, right? No, it's just a bunch of images that just play one after the other. Okay, so I think I have enough here. I think I'm prepared. Logos, like these are all just stuff that I had from a long time ago. You can see here it's like a pack of a ton of publishers or developers. I can use them for each one. Each one has a particular name. And what's great about this pack, and there's over 2,000 here, to be honest. I used to include this. I got rid of this in the original RetroTastic. Only about 50 megabytes, and I can call them up and I can display a little image of a publisher or something in the theme. Maybe I'll do that for this one. And then of course this one, star rating. So as we know, or if you don't know, LaunchBox has the ability to download, to rate your own games, or your rating could be used towards, if you opt in, a community rating system so that you can group up together with other people's ratings, and then you can then utilize that information in your own library and display the community rating. So that's usually what I do, because I want to see what are other people rating this item. I'm not going to sit there and rate my items when I've got thousands of games. I'll rate the ones that I like and the ones that I don't. And you know, how many people sit there and rate like the games that you kind of like but don't? The 2.5 of games. There are some nights I'll just sit there and start rating my games, knowing that it's going to go back into a central database somewhere. Other people will see my rating of that game. Okay, and then what else did I have? I brought over the play mode. So in this case, I had utilized these ones. These are not the only ones I kind of regret, because you could have a lot more now. Like I'm probably missing 6. What else am I missing? I don't know. Is there a 5-player game? Probably. I'd say after these two and then maybe this one. the rest of them fit into the arcade systems. Like those 3-player arcade games or the 8-player arcade games or whatever. And so the goal here is that these images would get brought up based off of a particular binding that we use called Max Player, which is a great binding. And when I created this theme, I don't think it existed. So I'm glad it does now. Okay, so back to the theme. So I'm gonna try to accomplish 2 things here. Okay, I'm gonna try to accomplish one thing here. I'm gonna try to make it so that the logo looks a lot better and cleaner and maybe more nostalgic. How am I gonna do that? I'm gonna do that with a parent. Let's do a grid. You see the grid is in here. The grid literally has nothing inside of it, so it's just an empty, invisible box. And in this case, I want that box to be the exact same size as this wheel. So what I could do is I can copy the properties of the wheel. Or do I want it to be the same size as this wheel? Yes, I do. And then I could do this a number of ways, but I haven't done it this way. So you can right click and say paste the property of the layout. So you can paste specific properties of another item, which is just amazing in this case that you can just do that. If I want to just paste like the animation of something else, saves a lot of time. And you can even copy and paste elements and properties between different views. I think even between different themes. Yeah, this program just is astonishingly robust. Alright, so layout. You can see that now the grid is the same size. That's right, Dean, yeah. I wish that one thing I'd love to do is just have 2 different kinds of videos, right? Like a 4x3 and a 16:9 for every platform. And then themes could just utilize whichever one fits best. That'd be cool. Anyway, so why did I do this grid? Basically what I'm trying to do is, let me do this backwards so that everybody understands. So I'm trying to solve this whole wheel problem. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a rectangle and I'm going to put it here. I'm going to put it under the wheel, but over the selected item. I'm going to make it full screen. Oops. Just make it 1440 by 1080. All right, I'll make this rectangle. Guess I should color it, shouldn't I? Black. And then I'm going to put that video, so a user-defined video, behind this rectangle. I will also have it full screen. You know what, I'm just going to do this full screen. And I'm going to find the video that I placed in the theme folder. And there you go, there's the video. Of course, we can't see it yet because I put a giant rectangle over it. So in this case, I can just control how much of the video I want people to see. Well, let's find out. There you go. So there's like a it's very black, staticky image. I'll reduce it a bit more, maybe 60%. Not too bad. Basically what I'm trying to do is not to make it too white. I'm trying to make it somewhere in the middle. So maybe 40% here would work. You know, hard to tell. Could even be less. What I can do is I can actually hide the element, although clicking this button only hides it to what I'm seeing in the editor. It doesn't actually hide it when you publish the theme. Interestingly enough. It's already pretty dark, isn't it? Okay, well, I'll leave it like that. And Eldith, you're saying random question. Has anyone ever asked for a toggle button licensed to text? I stream and sometimes parsec games and don't want my full name listed. Yes, I think it has been asked. I don't believe that's going to ever really happen, though. There's a reason why that license name is there, and understandably know that you wouldn't want to display your full name. But yeah, definitely do what Neil's saying there. You can get the contact details. I think there's a contact button on the forums. And you can just directly email that email. Okay, so what I did was I had this rectangle here, and I've got this video. I want it to fade in and out the same way as this wheel, right? So, you know, makes sense. I sit here and I've got to apply the animation to the rectangle and to this video. So now it will fade in with the wheel. It'll display over the selected item video. I get to choose the clear logo item. Well, I stop on Nintendo Entertainment System, and then all of that stuff fades away. It works. But if I wanted to make this more optimized, technically I'm triggering 3 different animations to accomplish the same thing. So hence why this grid is so useful. What I can do is I can put all these elements inside of this grid. I'm just dropping it inside. Look at that. Just make sure everything's still functioning properly. Yep. And now I can actually just copy this animation. Copy, paste the animation onto the grid. Oh, and then just remove this animation, and I basically accomplished the same thing. Let me just remove the animation, all 3 of these things. I accomplished the same thing, but using only 1 animation instead of 3 different ones. Because everything that's inside of this grid will be part of that animation. And that's the power of, one of the powers of these parent items. So now, let me save that out, and I can kind of trigger. So there, you see there, other than the wheel item, which I can't see, if I change this here, you see the animation comes in, and then I stop on an item, and the animation goes, animates those items away. So all 3 of those items. Do that again, here it comes, stop, and it fades out. Fade in, fade out. There we go. Okay, so I think it's a little bit more cleaner and maybe a little more nostalgic. And I think other than that, we're done, other than some statistics. So as a theme creator, you have control over what would people want to see when they're cycling through their games. Do you want to see the year? Do you want to see a little description of what the game, of what the system was about? There's a lot of data that LaunchBox collects and packages it together automatically within your library. And then you can pull that data and display it any real way that you want, to be honest. And as a theme creator, you can, sky's the limit with that data. Some people like more data than others. So, who knows? I personally like to see the year. I want to know when a system came out. I'm a big buff for retro gaming history. Watching retro gaming history videos and seeing all the systems that we missed as kids. Finding out that that computers were microcomputers were a giant thing in in Europe, but they were like non-existent here in Canada. I completely missed that era of gaming, even though I lived through it. So I don't have that nostalgic factor for all of those systems like the ZX Spectrum and that sort of thing. But I love watching videos about them to see what I missed. So because of that, I didn't really know all of the systems, and there's so many that came out that we've never heard of. Yeah, I wish I grew up with some more like that. I had a friend that had the Commodore 64, so that I was able to grow up vicariously through going to his house and watching him play. I had the Apple II years after, but my mom worked at a library in a school, and when they were tossing them out, she just like brought it home. And so I'm nostalgic over the Apple II, and words like Mavis Beacon teaches typing. That's how I know how to type. Mavis Beacon taught me. Hey Dan, glad you can join. I am just in the middle of creating this theme. Let's see what we got left. The BBC Micro, yes, that's another one that I had no idea existed, but have watched videos about it and how big it was. The entire tape deck, like playing games on a tape, like I feel like I missed that whole era, even though I lived through it and just never, like it just wasn't a thing here. We had 5.25 inch floppies. That's right, man. Mavis Beacon is what's up. Still going strong somewhere in the world. I remember sitting at a so one of my biggest things when I was a kid was those old Sierra adventure games. Like I loved them, and I brought a bunch of discs over to a cousin's house when I was a kid. And I remember thinking, I think it was Conquest for Camelot or something like that. And I bought that at a store. Or I had bought that. My dad was lucky enough to buy that for me. I was a kid at a store, and I loved playing that game. Brought it over to a cousin. And I just remember sitting there at the house for like 45 minutes or something, waiting for that game to install. Watching the little like installation, and then after 10 minutes be like, okay, please insert disc 2. Insert disc 2, and you just keep going like that for the longest time, and that was just the norm. That's just what we did. Wait, do you love the Apple II because you used to play strip poker on it? Alright, let me get some statistics here. I want it to feel like it's within this box. So, and let's think about this a little bit. So I'm going to put it under here. Maybe I'll make a new group. I'll put it in the middle here, and I'll call it stats, and I will do a text scroller. So maybe I'll scroll the text at the bottom. I don't want a background color, and we're gonna have to choose a font. What I love about this is that I don't have to mess with fonts. It just reads, the program will read the fonts that you have installed on your computer, and it'll bring it over and include it within the theme itself when you publish. Strip poker on the Spectrum. Did every single like computer system have a strip poker version of some kind? That is pretty funny. Neil. I guess that was a thing there, eh? Like if you have tape, you could just buy a game and then just copy it. Oh my god. Yeah, we didn't have that, but when we were kids, you know, in the rebellious years, I would go to the store and when I was older, we'd rent the PlayStation game and then I would just like copy them and then go return it. But I'd wait the like 3-day rental period and then return it, just to not cause any suspicion. But I had a friend that he would rent it, go home, make a copy, and then return it within like an hour. And of course, the people at the store, it was like a small mom and pop rental store that I guess those things don't exist anymore, do they? And they would just look at my friend like, why are you wanting to, like, is there a problem with the disc? Friend was like, nope, just returning it for no apparent reason. He didn't even want to play that game. He just didn't care. All right, let's pick a font. I think originally I had done, there's so many fonts to choose from. And what's great about this is that a plugin is included that allows you to change the type of change. Where is it here? Oh no, it's actually not here. It's not in the text scroller. I thought it was. To be able to like change whether it was uppercase or lowercase, that sort of thing, that's within the text binding, the text one here, which I will also add here. Okay, so in that case, what I'll do is I'll choose one that's maybe all caps already. Get that sort of full screen big caps look. What does that one look like? That one looks really thick though. Let's see. Let's try like a 27. That seems to be a common one. Where am I here? Bring it up here. And then I want it to be metadata. I want it to display the notes of the system. Or what is it called here? Lots of different ones, but the platform notes is what we want. Well, you can see here that it's going to do it in vertical. I want it to side scroll it. Here it is, to horizontal. And then I want to make it as quick as I can. So this is how long it'll be before it starts. That's 6 seconds. That's quite a long time. So let me go down to maybe, I don't know, start it at 1 second. Can I just start it right away? Is there a 0? There is a 0. And then 20, that's the slowest speed ever. It'll be 20 minutes before you see any text. Let me bring that down to 4. There it is. Even that's slow. Let's bring that down to 2. Look at that. Coming across the screen. I can even lower that more, 1.8, because I want to make the text bigger. Maybe I'll make it 35. And Eldith, you remember when game stores in the UK would leave the PC CD keys in the case, but not the discs on the shelves. And people would just walk through taking terrible photos of the old brick phones. Oh, I actually remember that too. Oh man. Yeah. We had stores here in Canada, one called Future Shop, which is like Best Buy. Doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, that was a problem there. People would just like take photos of the CD keys. They didn't know how to protect them. And then there was the question of, are SVG file images supported? I wish they were supported. They are not supported. And you're completely right that they would help. And you never know, maybe we can find ways to get that to work in the future. Currently does not work at the moment. And yeah, I guess you're finding your answer there. Jose, yeah, this is not a program for editing Hyperspin. This is a program for creating themes for BigBox within, which is the big TV, big picture version of LaunchBox. Oh, and these video themes, they were created, they were actually created, I'm not sure about this one. Anybody remember about this one in particular? I think it was created as part of the BigBox cinematic series for LaunchBox at the time. Now, does that mean you could find it anywhere else? You could basically, what I'll say about that is that you can automatically download these videos, at least most of the ones I think that I have, within LaunchBox itself. There is a download link, and you download it directly from the server and into your library by clicking a couple buttons. And Thatman84, Jason looks different. Yes, Jason does look different. But, you know, he's not here, so, but he does look different. I think it's been a while since he's done a live stream. But I wish I was Jason. I'm not Jason. Alright, so you can see here, I don't know if this font's any good. I'm just going to use it for this purpose. You know, it's thick and go up to 45. How does it look here? Man, I can't even go bigger. 55? Look at that. There you go. Now it looks like it's crawling. 1.5? Yeah, okay. So and then I've got this text element that I created, and I've got to apply. What do I want to see on this text element? It's a great question. Well, let's find out. So I could just type anything out that I want. In this case, let's use this one for the release date. I love seeing the release date. So I'm going to go here and say, of course, I got the wrong one. There's a separate release date one, isn't there? There it is. Oh, and Mad K9er. Seems like a lifetime ago you were posting your first theme on LaunchBox. It was a lifetime ago. It feels like a lifetime ago. I think my first theme was just trying to... I had no idea how to use XAML. I had no idea what that was. And I watched, I think like other people at the time, watched Jason's videos about how to create grids, how to create the bindings and that sort of thing, apply images, and it's like, okay, might as well try something. And Noni, are you able to publish themes and edit them in the theme creator? You cannot. So, and it was designed specifically like that. And what that does is it gives the power to the theme creators on whether they want to allow that. So there's actually a set of files that are just like the project files that are used within the theme creator itself. And then there's the actual published theme, which is a different set of files that get generated by this program. So a lot of theme creators, and something that I'll do is I'll always be releasing those project files, and you can use them to load it into this program and edit it as much as you want. So everything that you see here, all the stuff that I'm doing right now, that's exactly what I'll be doing. Yeah, and Fulcan, definitely let us know what link is broken, especially if it's a link in the description. I briefly tried to... I think there was some stuff in there from before. I tried to clean it up before I hit the live button. So yeah, and I'm not the only one that releases those project files. And normally... Oh, the community theme link in the description. Can I change that? Oh yeah, it is broken. I can fix that, I think. How quickly can I type in community theme creator in the forums? I don't know if this live changes, but definitely we can't have that broken. Yeah, you can use that link that Neil posted, or I think I updated the link in the description. Did that automatically, dynamically change for everybody? You might have to refresh for anybody curious. Okay, so back to the task at hand. Release date. The release date can be displayed in a number of different ways. A lot of I personally like, if you see my themes, just displaying the year, but we have all the way to the actual date if you want, and this is the format that you choose which one you want to do. So let me bring this up to a good 25. Move that somewhere or not. This one, right? Let's move that up. Cool. Oh, you've got one of those Sony Vegas? Yeah, I'm jealous about that. So you can see I could put Friday, October 18th. Where were you in 1985? I don't remember where I was, because I was a baby. But if you wanted to know when it was released, that's when it was released somewhere. I think the Nintendo especially has sort of like one of those iffy dates. Like it was released in like one market in like New York first, just to see if those console systems, that these new guys, Nintendo, would be able to sell anything. So I don't know if that's that date that it's showing there, or the date where it was available for everybody. You would have been at school. I might have been in preschool at that time. Okay, so let's take a look. So normally what I'd like to do is just display the year. So look at all these different ways you can display the dates. Lots of cool different things you can do. Very common one is I just want to know, hey, what year did it come out? And so I can compare that with other systems. Give you sort of like a timeline. Hey, Dooley. Hope you're feeling good today. So you can see here 1985. So we're gonna do maybe a little bit bigger there, right? Let's go with 35. It's not bad. And yeah, I can choose any font that we want. Let's be creative. Choose any of these kind of fonts. Like an Open Sans. Is that too fat? No, it's actually not really digging that font. How about this one? That is very wide. And kind of hard to read. That's not bad. Easy on the eyes. For some reason it's cutting off the bottom. Or maybe that's just the way the font is. Oh no, wait, it's the video. No, it can't be the video. It's on top of the video. There we go. That's better. Okay. Let me open this up to 45. There, nice and big. So we'll put this over, somewhere. There you are. NES full launch. It's the full launch that we're seeing there. So release date, we've got the text scroller, and maybe we want to see, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I should have thought about this before. We want to see probably the name of the system. So let's go here, we'll put the platform name. We'll put, and I guess I'll just use the same font, whatever I used, Oswald. And we'll go with bold. And because of that, I kind of want this to not be the bold version. Maybe just the regular. There we go. Make this smaller. 20. That's really tiny. 25. Make this bigger. And now we got the platform name. We'll make this one 45. How long is this? So now, one thing that you'll have to really think about as a theme creator is, okay, if you make the text too long, some of these platform names are actually quite long. So let me switch over to the one that I always seem to use. And you can just go up and down here. Super Nintendo Entertainment System is a really long one. So you just want to make sure that you're not going too far here. This looks pretty good. And one thing that you can do with this is you can change the text format, so I can make it all uppercase as an example. It's a preference. And I'd want to make it centered. And let's see, so I'd want it to maybe be like this size. There we go. And there's the ability to wrap text, which is something that you can think of. So you can make it so it trims the text, so if it gets too long and it's going to go beyond the scope of your box, then it will instead cut off the text and put a couple dots, either via a character, so it might remove like a character and then put the 2 dots, or remove an entire word and then put a few dots, indicating that the name is just super long. Yeah, I'll just put character ellipsis. I don't think that that'll happen, but or you can do this instead, so you can wrap it with overflow, which basically means it will create a second line. And if you want to do that, it means you have to give it enough space to create that second line, meaning that you'll have to have a blank space somewhere to fill in that spot. I don't really need that for my purpose right now. So let me move this up. I can actually move this up with the cursor. You can see how slow that's going. Can you even see it moving? Or I can hold shift and move it like this, much faster. And I can really refine the position that I want. Maybe like here. Same with this release date. I'll do the same thing. So want it maybe here, And for this release date, I probably want it to be a little darker. So instead of white, and you can see here, this is the color that eventually I'm going to choose. This is the color picker. Dave spent a lot of time building this color picker from scratch. And does this button work? This button works, right? Yeah, I can pick a color from the canvas here on this screen. So I can be like, okay, this color red, and then it picks it. It's really cool and really handy for all of you people that are like color centric, that you want a very specific color palette. This color picker, this whole color is amazing. That's right, it all works, and it works really well. In this case, I don't want that red. I probably just want it to be slightly darker than the Super Nintendo text, so I'll darken it up. You also have the ability to do linear gradients and radial gradients. They're very handy. They look really, really cool. Look at this. I can start the gradient off wherever I want. I can end the gradient off wherever I want. I choose the color, so I choose this point, and I can make it red. And then look at that. It'll change the color just like that. Hey, why don't I just use it just because, you know, it's there. Let's do that. Let's make it look okay. So this one down there, this one up here. I will also move this over here so it's just like slightly red. Do I want it red? Maybe I'll have it like a bluish dark color. No, wait, I'm choosing the wrong color. This one, a bluish dark color. Let's see what that looks like. There you go. Give it a slight fade at the bottom. And so what else could we use? What else do you want to see? Let's think about this. So I want to see the year, and I want to see how many games that my system has. There you go. So how do you do that? Well, create a new text file, text element. I'll call it total games. I'll go down here, metadata, and switch that to total games count. How many games do I have? That's very tiny, so let me really see how many games I have. 774 Super Nintendo games. Cool. So let's look over here and take a look what we can do. I want it to be the same exact style as this, so unfortunately this text is release date. So how much of that can I drag over, because they're not technically the same element? We're about to find out. Appearance, foreground, brought over the gradient. I don't care about any of that other stuff, to be honest. Hey Saeed, hopefully you're having a wonderful day. Okay, so what am I missing? I'm missing the font, so Oswald. And probably the size, yeah, is different. There we go. Okay, so I think other than that, we're okay, we're good. So let me bring that up here. And here's another cool thing. You can see here that there's this line that tells me or indicates to the theme creator that I am now at perfect same alignment as to the bottom of the other element here, which is this one. I don't have to guess. And you can actually move these things around if I can get to it. The problem is this. Is this full screen? That sometimes it doesn't let me choose it because I've got these full screens here. So let me do this so that you can see. Okay, so you can see as I move it, those sort of smart guides appear. And you can see there that it's telling me exactly where I need it to go. So something you can use for every single element, which is really cool. Very similar to smart guides in Photoshop, if you've I keep saying that, but very similar because it's very useful. So we have a problem that's probably not readily apparent to people right now, but let's say I save this. Actually, let's do one more thing. I got the total games, but I want it to say games after it as an example. Right, so I want like games and maybe text, and I want that to, let's just put that there, bring it over here, and instead of 774 I'm going to change that to a constant value and I say games. Do I want it to be all caps or not? Let's find out. Yeah, all caps looks fine. Alright, so you looked at the theme creator yesterday. Here's a great question. And that you can create your own user code and put it in there. Yes. So the idea around this is that the theme creator does a lot of stuff really cool, but there are things that it can't do because XAML is just, designed code. You can do a lot of stuff. So you can bring over your own code and inject it into an element. That element specifically is called the user source. So you can create that, and all it really is just a text box that you can paste code into, and it will display it. And so you got to be very careful that you're not putting code in there that's wrong and ends up like breaking your theme. But if you do it right, you can basically put whatever you want in there if it's functional. So here I create a new, whatever the name I want to call it. I can call it my name, user source. Oh, I can't do that. User source 101. It does that. I paste whatever that I want in there, or I can create something in there if I really want to. Why would you do this? There are certain reasons why I've done this in the past. One thing, and I'm going to steal this from Dave because I'm looking at it right now, is he said you might want to do it if you've included a third-party plugin and you want to use certain features from that plugin. You can do it that way through here. You can type in the plugin code. Like weather, for example. Thank you, Dave. There are things that the theme creator currently doesn't do. Hopefully it will do sometime in the future. Like there's a use case for having, so in BigBox you can flip the box art, right? There's like a flip button. You say, I want to flip the box art, I want to see the back of it, right? And you can, I think you can even bind it. But in order for that to work, you have to have, like, a theme creator has to know that there is a transition code that you have to use for the main image for that to function, for that button to function. And currently the theme creator doesn't have that ability to put that code in. So you can just copy and paste that code into here and it will display the main image. We call it the main image, not the box art, because it's an image that the user can control. So the user within LaunchBox, if you know how you can like change which image appears per platform, you can decide, oh, I want to see the clear logo in, like, instead of the box art. Then in BigBox, if you use that code, it'll show the clear logo. That sort of thing. Anyway, I don't know if that still happens, to be honest. I haven't used it in a while, but it's very useful for box art. So it's something that I used in some of my themes. I think I used it in the RetroTastic theme. So I would just paste it in here, like, and just so that you guys have an idea of XAML, and I might be doing XAML specific tutorials, and if anybody wants to know anything about diving into the code, yeah, please let me know. So one thing that you guys can do is within the theme folder, everybody has a copy of this. It gets automatically downloaded, this notation. And I should really look through this documentation and make sure that it's got everything. I think it's pretty well updated, but what happens is that BigBox will create their own bindings. So we have our own bindings that we can use, and this documents all of those things, and we can use them for anything that we want. Let's take a look at our specific use case. So I'm going to look at transition presenter, I think it's called. So we've got 3 or 4 of those ones. 4, 5, 6. Wow, a lot. Okay. And so you've got like one that's going to be used for video and image. I think it's called video and image because if you don't have a video, it will default to something like the fan art background image or something like that. So all you have to do is copy and paste this into the user source. Of course, that would currently break the theme because I'm already including video. I believe I'm already including this within the regular create theme creator, but one of the elements is using that. Let me see, which one is it not using? I think it's this one, the image view. Image transition selector. Sounds right. Anyway, so and I think this one's also not included, so the details transition selector, although it might be, I don't remember, to be honest. And so you just copy this and you paste that right here. Boom. Yeah, I'll definitely be doing one of those where I create a theme just with code. And then hopefully people will be able to hop on and ask a ton of questions about the code, because there's so much cool stuff that you can do just in the code. I find it's nice to just know, like, it's just nice to just know what the code means, even if you are using the theme creator, because it helps you deduce exactly what you're doing, right? And Koryu, is BigBox on Android yet? No, I don't think that, like, if you followed the history, you know that there was an Android version, and with newer versions of Android, there was just some permissions issues and just so many issues with what Google was doing with the platform that it ended up not being viable. But I'll tell you, at one point, like I just joined the team, so there's like at one point when I was just making themes, there was talk about, you know, going full steam into that, and yeah, so it was really disappointing for everybody what happened with that, and definitely regrettable. Basically what I'm saying is we all wanted it to happen, and then it didn't happen, and we got really sad. Alright, so that's basically user source in a long-winded way of saying that. So let's get rid of user source. Yeah, it's just a way to inject your own code. As long as you know what the code is, you can inject it. Okay, so let's go back to what we were doing here. All right, so I was going to say that we have a problem that's not readily apparent right now. like you can see here that I've got the elements, I've got the release date, the game, the total games, right? Maybe I want that total games to really be closer, right? I want it to be, oh, got the wrong one, the text one. I want it to be like right up against it. I don't want it to look funny. Something like that. And great, like it looks great. Maybe it's a little off-centered, whatever. So I save that, and then let me flip through the systems I have here. And oh my god, that looks terrible now, right? 1185, and it's impacting the games. But without reading what Dave's actually written, there is a solution to this, and the answer is a dock panel. And that is one of the parent elements. So let's do that. Let's create a dock panel and show you the power of that. Dock panel, you see that there are things stacked left and right, and you can see here with the stack panel things are stacked vertically, so you kind of give you an idea of what you can use this system for, or each one of these parent items for. There is a way to do that. You can right align the total games, this, which is what we used to have to do, right? So you'd right align it, which for some reason didn't right align. Did you see that? And then that would just mean that the numbers would just appear and it would stay in the same spot on the right. So it would always appear in the exact spot we want it to be, next to the games. But we got a better solution now. We've got docking. Let's take a look. So I can create a dock, and I can position this dock anywhere I want. Oh right, it's under text alignment. Keep forgetting that. I'll show you guys that there's another text alignment. There you go. Perfect. And there's one solution. Now the problem with that is I'm trying to solve two things at the same time with all of this text. I want it to always, like, this was one problem. I want the games and the total games to sort of be in the exact same position next to each other at all times, no matter how many games that I have. And the second problem that I really want to solve here is I want it to always be centered. I want, if the amount of games changes, or maybe the release date, like you can see here, arcade, that doesn't have a release date because that's more of like a category than it is an actual system. So there's not really a release date there. So like, and now you're looking at it and thinking, well, the total games and all that stuff's off to the right. Like, why isn't it just centered under the title? Well, there's a way to do that with dock panel and a few other tricks. So let's take a look. All I have to do is position this dock panel exactly where I want it to be. I want it to be in the middle. I do need it to be kind of wide, at least wider than I feel the release date and the total games would be. So now that it's wide, I can actually center it by doing this alignment. Perfect. And then I can start placing the items inside of there. Docks work like this. The first item at the top, and correct me if I'm wrong, actually I'll just find out. The first item is the first item that's docked. So the item on the left. And dang it. I'll move my dock. Okay. Let me just write this down. Okay, so, and as I place more items in the dock, it's just going to place items, to the right of it. I mean, that's basically it. So first I want the release date, then I want, and I knew that was going to happen, so let me fix, Why am I... Oh, right. Gonna forget about that. Oops. Let's do about 75, 85, 90, and I think that's wide enough, but I only needed about 50 height, right? Okay, perfect. So I've got the release date in there, and I'm gonna get the total games in there, and I'm gonna get the games in there. So this is probably a terrible example. So let me go out here and go back to a system that actually has a release date to show you the problems that I'm gonna have. Dave's already ahead of me. You're ahead of me. Okay, so you can see, like, where's all my stuff? I can only see release date, but I have everything in the dock, so what gives? And you can kind of see here that, like, things are all over the place, not quite where you wanted it to be. And the reason is because you set stuff to a static height and width by default. And so this should be 576 wide, which is, I think, wider than the actual dock. No, it's exactly the same amount as the actual dock. And so to get around this, you have to switch your height and width to auto size. So you can see the width auto size does that. The height auto size would just basically be as high as the text. So at this point, it's only going to show you the part of the text that's visible, and it's going to size it to that. And if I size everything to that, oh, look at that. All of a sudden, everything appears. And now we have a different problem. So now that we have everything appearing in the dock like it should, I guess one problem is I should center that, and now it's centered perfectly. There you go. Last problem. Why is everything next to each other? I need space in between this stuff. Well, there's a problem. Solution. I can have space in between this stuff by adding margins. So the best way to do this is with margins. So the release date doesn't need a margin on the left. You can do this one of two ways. You can put margins onto the right, which is... Let's think about this. Yeah, it's one way to do it. But another way I'd rather do it is maybe put the margin off to the left of items. No, that's not a way that I want to do it, is it? Let's put it on the right. So let's take a look. I can just simply have a margin of 5. Margin of 5. And it's starting to separate the items a little bit. Not exactly the way that I like, but this separation between the total games and the word games seems pretty good. You're right, Dave. Yeah. I wonder why I always do it that way. So the way that I'm thinking logically is there's probably systems that will not have the year, but there will always be systems that have games. So if I get rid of 1985, it gets rid of also the margin there of 1985, and then it brings this all the way to the left, centering it perfectly. I think my logic's sometimes not great, but I want a separator between 1985 and this 774, so that means I need a new element. So I'm going to copy this element here that's just essentially consistent text. I just type out the word games, paste that. I'm going to put that in the middle of release date and total games. There, and now it's saying the name of games. I'll put the same 5 pixel margin and I will change this to, I don't know, separator, something like that. I spelled that wrong, but you know, it's basically a dash. I'm gonna put a dash there. Okay, so now I have a separator, which is great and all, but I come into the issue of if I don't have a release year, it's still going to display that dash. And so there's a solution for that in the form of something called this line that I've been ignoring this whole time, called visibility conditions, an entire button that brings up an entire window that has lots of stuff in it for so many cool things. Let's utilize this for this purpose. I want it so if there's no release year, that dash disappears. That's all I want. So let's figure this out. So I'm going to go into this dash layer and I'm going to say, I'm doing this in the wrong one. Okay, so I'm doing visibility conditions for the color, which is not what I want. I want to do it for the visibility. All right, that looks better. I'm going to say I want it to be visible, right? So it's visible. This is sort of like block coding, if anybody's, like, it's not that complicated. Let's just go through the logic here. If you're not a coder, you don't have to worry about me saying the word coding. I'm basically saying this dash or this element is visible unless something below happens. So what is that item? Let's add one. I'm going to say I want it to be collapsed when the release year, the release date property, so the text. Actually, I could do this a number of different ways, couldn't I? So let's say when the release year's visibility is collapsed. I could put margins around everything, but the problem we're trying to solve is actually so that the dash doesn't appear if the release date, if a system doesn't have a release date. Or else we'll just have a random dash on the left side. I could solve that by putting a random dash on the right side. Right, Gaff? So in this case, what I'm going to do is I want to eliminate the text. And I sort of did this backwards for you guys, so it's kind of not making sense right now. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if the release year, so I mean let's make this make sense. So I'm going to go here and I kind of want this release date to collapse to nullify that margin out on the left, right? So I'm going to say if I want this to be collapsed when itself has no release year. So I'll say something like the release date. So, and just to clarify here, I believe, and yeah, this looks right. So this orangey yellow means an actual metadata binding that I can bind to. Oh, okay, sorry, yeah. I think there's a delay here in what I'm saying and what I'm seeing. I don't know how big that delay is. I thought I put it on the lowest latency. So the yellow means it's just like a binding that I can use to do my my logic, or the white means an actual element that I've added into this theme. So in this case, I can just say if the release date. I mean, I could probably use either, couldn't I? No, I actually can't. Okay, so if the release date's text contains, is it null or no value? They always feel the same to me. Hey, Sparky 007, how you doing today? I think I'm gonna do no value. although I don't know if it matters. Okay, so follow me here. So I'm basically saying, hey, the release date, if you have nothing inside of you, and then I might change this to is. So if you have nothing inside of you, then collapse yourself. No value includes null. Okay, that's just more confusing, Dave. And then the dash basically says, hey, if this release date variable or element is collapsed, collapse the dash as well. And so that's sort of the lie. I did that backwards. Well, let me just make sure that's exactly what I did. So I said, if the release date is collapsed, collapse the dash. And based on what I just did, it should, and I can test this actually back here. Well, let's take a look. Take the arcade, which doesn't have a release date, and we should see the dash disappear. Look at that. Goodbye, dash. And it centered everything, and it looks perfectly. So now, as a theme creator, I am happy that no matter what happens and what systems that you have, my text will always be centered. Look at that. Beautiful. Now I have the problem of, and you'll probably see it, let's say, if you had a 4x3 video, I've got no background, and it looks kind of funny on this background. Both of them. So let's solve that. That's the very last thing we're going to solve, and then I think we're done. And there's a number of ways that you can solve this, to be honest. But for our purposes... Oh, and this is going to be a pain in the butt, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to create a frame, or is it... Can I do it in a grid? Do grids have backgrounds? They do. Does it make more sense to do it in a grid or a frame? I don't think it really matters, does it? Let's do it in a frame. So a frame is basically... Actually, if we can get away, a frame would allow us to have borders and color that border a specific color, because it's basically a border, which is why you sort of see that border in there. A grid is just a box that we can place lots of stuff into, and a frame has the limitation that you can only put one element in it. However, you could put that element could be another parent item, and then you can put lots of stuff inside of that parent item. Lots of choices. Let's use the grid. Let's just make the grid the same size as let's do the same width as the platform name, because that's really long. So I'm gonna copy the platform name, and I'm gonna paste the layout. Perfect. I kind of want it to be a little wider, and I'm going to want a background color. Oh, I see what you did. So, for people that don't know hex colors, so something simple that you can use, and in XAML, I don't know if it works in... So work the same in CSS, it's been so long. The first two numbers represent the alpha. So it goes from 0 to, of course, F. And that's basically 0 to 100% opacity. Or you should just be able to drag this color and you can see that number change. Look at that. I always wanted to know, what is exactly 50% in the hex scale? I should not press enter. It's exactly 80. That's what I thought. That is what I thought. Alright, so I want it to be black in the background. And whoa, okay. Maybe I want this to be 90. Ooh, black. Does it not let me choose a black? No, that worked. There we go. And of course I want it to be behind the elements. Actually, I don't want it to be behind, do I? I want the elements to be inside of it. So let's bring over the platform name, see what damage I got. Okay, you can see that this solid line is the grid, and this line that's moving or animated is the platform. You can see it's like pushed off to the side, and the reason is because the X position is 45. I'll just move that to 0. I'll move that to 0. So far, so good. Why is the grid so giant? Whoa, look at that. That should not be that. Now I'm forgetting. 1300? 1350. Kind of remember that number. There you go. Perfect. And so I've got the platform name in there, and I want to move this dock, and I'm scared to move it. Oh, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Okay, that wasn't so bad. Move that down here. Perfect. Okay, so if I keep that there, I think we're basically good to go. This grid is maybe a little bit too big for myself, for my liking. Oh, I put dashes. So I'm going to go down to 100. There you go. So now you got a border, and I just got to do that one more time for this text scroller. So let me create another grid element. And whoa, did that again, Dave. Oops. Yeah, 50, and I'm gonna bring this all the way down. Perfect. Okay, so I want this to be the background of the text scroller. So let me move the text scroller in it. Let me just see what we got. It looks perfect. Although I might want to make it a little smaller, so let me make this height about 75. Nice. Well, let me bring that down a little bit. There you go. And let's actually make this grid black. And if I remember what I did, it would have been 90. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. You're right, there is no need for a grid. The problem, and maybe you can solve this for me, is that I can't... Actually, maybe I can. No, I can't adjust the size of the background on the text scroller. So you can see here that the background on the text scroller, like, it is there. You can actually just turn it on. As an example. So you can see here that there is a black background. But I can't control like the margin of it. Does that make sense? Although in this case, actually, I don't seem to mind it, to be honest. So let me let me not use it. Yeah, the border size. Can you control that? Am I missing it? Let's see. Yeah. But like padding probably would work, right? In this case, actually, it works out fine, to be honest. I don't need this grid. There, it actually works out pretty well. Other than the fact that I probably should change the opacity down to what, 55? Similar enough, right? And Nicoful, the year should be 2017. Yes, that's right. And it's actually, this is the year up here. I don't know if you're looking at this 2012. I'm not really sure why it's saying that. That's part of the description, which is automatically downloaded in everybody's library. And you can actually change automatically if you're wanting to use a different description than the default one that comes from the LaunchBox database. I feel like 2012, what does that mean? I don't know, I'd have to read this, which I haven't done. There you go, released on March 3rd, 2017 in North America. All right. Cool. So the last thing that I want to do is I want to animate this. So one thing that I did back then, so let's just do a quick animation. And remember, I can just animate the parent grid or the parent item. I don't have to animate every single one of these items. The rest of the items just come with it. So quickly, I talked about it before. During selection, well, let's do something nifty. During selection, I want it to move up or down from the current location off the screen to the top, and only take, let's do it in 0.5 seconds. These sun eases will help a lot. Let's do like a power ease, because we got power, and we'll make it do it ease in, which means it'll go a little slow at the start and then just zoom right out. And then of course, I want it to do the same thing coming back. So let me make a copy of this and say, you know, once an item has been selected, once a platform has been selected, I want it to, from the top, come in to the defined location. The defined location is the place that you see it on the canvas. And then the rest can be the same. So how do we know whether that worked or not? Well, there's a nifty little feature here that's hidden on this top bar called Include Animations with Movement. You can also click Alt-I to enable that. Here it comes. Yeah, that did not see that properly. Turn it off. Let me turn it on. On. That was really fast and a little jagged. It won't look like that in BigBox. Let's see if I can save it and see if I can get it to trigger. So it goes away and then it comes back really quickly. Maybe too quickly. Okay. Hello, Philip CDI. Let's make that, whoa, wrong element, I can already tell. I've got animations on. There you go. So once selected, I do want it to come back, and maybe what I really want is for it to ease out. And maybe it should come in much slower. Let's do 8.5. Not a lot slower, but okay. So I'm gonna take this whole animation and I'm gonna apply it to the text scroller and then reverse, saying from the top to the bottom. So instead of going on screen top, say come to the bottom. And that should be it. Let's publish it up and see what it looks like. See if I made any mistakes. Publishing is creating the theme. Oh, there's something else I forgot to do now that I'm publishing it. Okay, thank you for publishing. Now let's scrap whatever I just did. And last thing I want to do is in the wheel. I said that it was too close, so I guess I'll explain a little bit here. So what we have here is a bunch of properties that control how far things are from you based on the clear logos that are not selected versus the clear logo that is selected. So you can see the item Z position. Z position is how close something is from you. The lower the number, I think in this case, let me remember this. I think the lower the number, the further it is away. I'm pretty sure. So what we basically want, I said everything was just too big. So I'd want to lower this number maybe. So the selected item, let me move it to 1, and then the item that are not selected, so the item Z positions normally is maybe 6.6. And of course the camera position, actually really what I want is the entire camera to the item. If it's, let's say, on a it's like in real life, how close are you standing, or is the camera standing to the item you're looking at? Let's move that to 2. Let's see how that affects everything. And then of course you got visibility count, page size. So how many clear logos are you going to load at a time? So 16 seems okay. Could probably lower that. Spacing is how far apart all the items are going to be. I don't know, let's bring that down maybe to 8. See how that looks. And then we got all these rotation, if you want to have a curved wheel or something, which I don't, and I don't think that I need to adjust anything. I think we're good. Okay, now let's publish it and see what we got. Let's load it up. Let's bypass this. I made it so much worse. Okay, but the statistics is fine. The video it's playing is fine. It's taking a little long for that platform notes to kick in. We'll see what I can do about that. And then for some reason I did the opposite of what I wanted to do with the clear logos. So I guess it's a good thing that I checked it. And let's find out what I can do to fix it. I think the issue was with the camera. I feel like the higher the number, the further away from the camera of the item you are, so maybe I just went the wrong direction. Let's do that. And then for the text scrolling, I thought I put that at 0. Maybe I mixed it up. No, begin delay is 0. That's odd. Let me put it at like 0.5. Can I do that? Point 1. Okay. Anyway, so far so good. Basically what I wanted. I'll do one last test and then I'll move on. There you go. Zoomed out. Better. For some reason that background at the bottom's really big. I don't know if I kept the rectangle there.
The intelligent home video system. Intellivision turns your TV set into a family entertainment center.
All right, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. I don't really need to see any more. And there you have it. That's the platform. Let's move on to a game view. Something simple enough. Now that I have all of this stuff already here, what's great is that I can transfer a lot of that over. So if I click here and I'm going to create a wheel view, this first wheel view, this is just one that I can use horizontal wheels just like we just did. I'll switch to a system that has multiple games. And what game should we look at for a while? Kirby's Dream Land 3. Oop. All right, that's right. So with game views, if you don't know, and something I shouldn't have clicked on, you can have per platform views. So I could create a wheel view just for the Atari 5200. I utilized that in my cover box theme, which is a theme that I created before we had this. So I actually created like 15 or 20 separate themes that you had to use and set up yourself as a user, because I think at the time BigBox had the ability to have per theme platforms. So you just download 20 themes and then apply each platform to the different theme. And now we've got this. We can create just a view for a particular system, and I rejigged CoverBox, which I and made it so it works with this. Yeah, Jay's Arcade. Yeah, Dave works so hard on this. And that's right, vertical themes are a thing now. If you look at the aspect ratio, look at this. You can do 19 by 16 themes built right in. Yeah, it'll be really nice. Okay, let's do this quickly. Alright, so brand new view. You can see mandatory items. You've got the index list, and we can place this somewhere. Wherever we want to place it. Let's stretch it across, I guess. Align it to the bottom middle. The wheel we're going to do again. Just the full entire screen. And let's start adding all these elements. Let's pull some stuff over. How much am I gonna break if I pull the entire theme? Let's see. and apply it to a video or oop. Let's find out. There, I just basically copied and pasted everything from what I did. And I might have broken some stuff, but we can fix that. We got a good starting point. So an idea is this wheel index. So I want to reposition that again. So I'll just do 0, and I'll just go down there. Width 1440. Actually, I do have to make it smaller, don't I? Yeah, let's put it there. So there are things that look like it's going to work, but it's not actually going to work inside of BigBox, I think, because we're using a lot of platform binds that don't work with game binds. So we're just going to switch them up, but utilize these elements. So really, instead of, as an example, like a platform notes, where we'll just switch those out. You see it's already blanked out. We'll just switch them out to game notes. There we go. Now it's just going to show us the game instead of game. Oh, that looks kind of funny actually. So instead of the platform name, why don't we just switch that to the game name? Is it game or title? That disappeared, didn't it? Is it game? There you go, it's game. And then here there's a dock, which, is it not centered anyway? No, it is. Yeah. So instead of release date, I believe it's still release date. This should still work. It's showing you the release date of the game itself. And then the total games, yeah, that definitely does not need to be there. But instead, what else could we use? What else do we want to know? Let's just do genre. And you can see that we have 1 of 4 that we can utilize. Not every game has 4. I'll just use the first one. This game doesn't even have the first one. And then I'll just delete this. Ah, there it is. And I'll change this to genre. I can also make it all uppercase. Look at that. Number of players. That's a good thing. I'll tackle that next. So there's a couple things that I'm going to use images for. One of them is going to be number of players. The other one will be the community star rating, the ESRB, and the last one will be, I guess, one that's very uncommon is either publisher or developer. I guess we'll have to decide which one makes more sense. Why does that not look centered to me? Because it's not centered. I see. Interesting. Okay, so it's just very too wide. Let me bring that down to 1350. There we go. Perfect. Let's just save that up, make sure things are steady there. All right. Well, let's do that. Let's do these images. So I'm going to create a brand new group and I'm just going to call them image stats. Just so that I have an idea of what I'm putting in there. Bring that underneath my overlays. And I'm going to add a generic image. I'll call this one Max Players. I'll center it all up. And let's do, so metadata, I'm going to call a metadata called, which one makes more sense? Publishers or developers? Do you want to know who created the game or who published the game? I kind of lean towards developers. Sometimes it's the same group. Sometimes it's not. And also knowing that I'm probably not going to have an image for every single one of these groups, but I'll have a lot. So let's see if I have one of these. I do not. That's a bad example. I called it Max Players and then I went over to publishers. That's kind of funny. Okay, let's go to like a Nintendo system just because I will definitely have. Look at that, I've got Irem. Let's go to Super Nintendo. There you go. Donkey Kong Country 3. Hey, I might as well just do publisher. No, developer. I'm doing developer. Because I think if I switch it to publisher, who published this? Wasn't it just Nintendo? I don't know who it was, but it's definitely something that I don't have the logo for. So, developer it is. So how am I doing this? I know it's been a few hours since I mentioned, but oh no, that's why. It reset the image folder. Logos. Yeah, it was Nintendo. I guess that's the difference between publishers and developers. So how am I doing this? I basically have a folder called logos. Maybe I should have changed it to developer logos. Inside of not that folder. This one? Yeah, no. Do I have a third thing open? Yeah, let's do this. Just called logos, and it's just basically filled with a whole bunch of different developers slash publishers, mostly developers, and they just have the same name as whatever the binding is within LaunchBox that gets automatically downloaded, and covers a lot of different options. So here we are. Let's make this something like that, and then I will move it to this corner, which I can't see. There we go. There you go. Just right there. And then let's do something cool. Let's simulate like immediately I want it to fade in and out of, let's say, 80%. No, let's see. Let's think about this. 60% to 90% opacity in short bursts of like 0.8 width. We can use some of these crazy eases. Cubic ease? That's not crazy. Elastic ease? Look at all these oscillations. This might just be too much, but we'll find out. Auto reverse and repeat. Let's go. What's it gonna look like? I think that's just a little too crazy. It's just bouncing everywhere. Okay, let's make this a little let's go back to cubic. Let's see what that looks like. Not bad. And now I probably just want it to be a little less. So let me go to 70% so that the changes in the opacity isn't so glaring. Sort of like this slight change. All right, perfect. And now all I have to do is duplicate this 3 more times, take up all 3 of the corners. Let's do it. Let's do number 2, ESRB rating. ESRB. This one I'm going to do something a little different. So if there is no ESRB rating, all that will happen is, oops, where's my ESRB folder? I didn't bring it with me. Media. There it is. Let's bring that over. All right. So this one does have an ESRB rating, but whenever it doesn't find anything, by default, it just shows nothing. In this case, I actually have, because I programmed it before, or I created it before, I have an image in here called not rated. And I can use this as a fallback, basically saying if there is no ESRB rating, use the not rated.png. And let's size this to something like that and drag it somewhere underneath this. You can see there I do have the same size as this, but I mean this is still a lot bigger because the logo here has a lot of padding on the sides for some reason. I'll do something like that. Make it go in a little bit. All right, that's 2. Now we'll do max rating, max players. And we'll switch that to maximum players. And we will, look at that, because it can't find a maximum player, it's using the logo that I wanted it to. So we're going to use play mode. There you go. And maximum player is simply just a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to, I guess, quite a lot it could be. But I only have images for some of them. I'm gonna make this a bit smaller. And put this in the top corner. Okay, last one. Interesting that when I pasted that, the position of the elements changed, so I might have to change those back. Okay, so for this one, the last one is community star rating. And there are, I think there's a bunch of bindings that you can use. Okay, so you can either do your community star rating, or you can have a binding that combines community and your own rating. So I think the priority is the community rating, and if it doesn't have one, then it's user rating, or vice versa. I can't remember which one. I'll use that one so that it has the best opportunity to find a rating. I don't know if I remove that, actually. I should remove that. Actually, I need the star rating, if there is no rating, to display the 0. There you go. And basically the way that this works for people that don't know is that I took the time and I created a picture for every single opportunity, every single number that you can from 0 to 5, and within the folder. And there's a number that I created a lot of these, and other people have too. You're free to use any ones that I've created for any of my themes in your own theme. A number of people have taken me up on that already, and perfectly fine. And you'll see inside of here, I just used Photoshop and incrementally created one picture, and as you go, it just fills it up on a per 0.1% difference. There you see them, and they're all just named exactly that it would be that the binding would show up at like 1 point number, 1.1, 1.2, all the way to 5, which means I also created a 0.0, and so that one I can use as a fallback, and it shows up really cool here. Make that big and move that. Oops. All right. I like it. Okay, let me save this and see if I'm gonna have to move those elements again. Other than that, I think we're done. I will have to move those elements again. All right. I lied, I'm not done. And I'm just gonna do this quickly. I'm gonna put everything in a grid, which will make sense in a second. Just going to place everything in the middle again because the grid's so tiny. Okay, I should have done this to the grid. All right. Let's move these guys around. Guess it's best if I just put this in the middle here. And just so that you guys know, you can, like, this menu is a different window altogether. So if you do have a second monitor, you can just drag this off like this. I'm just keeping it on here so you guys can see it, but that's not normally how I work. Okay. There we go. Save it up, see what we got. Okay, so the last thing that I want to do, and the reason why I put everything in a grid, is because I want to also animate the grid and make it so that this stuff only appears after everything else has appeared. And so I'll just create a new animation here. I'm going to have to do that during selection, you know, the menu starts appearing and the GIF starts appearing. I don't want any of this stuff to appear at that time. I want to control when people see this. So at the beginning, opacity, at the current opacity, I want it to fade out to 0, and I want that to be pretty quick. Let's say 2.5. This doesn't matter, but I'll just set that there. Final thing is, how am I going to bring it back? Once it's selected, I'll bring it back. Wait. Actually, it's 0 seconds once the item's selected. Bring it to 100% opacity, and actually this time I want it to wait about a second and then fade it back in over half a second. And I'll just do a regular ease function. And so that should, if I did that right, make it so you only see it after the game and everything has come in. In fact, I might delay it coming in another half a second. Just this one. Start at 0.15. And of course, I don't actually need animations on every single one of these. I should copy that one animation right here. And then I should, although that's going to be conflicting, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be a little conflicting. I think I removed the rectangle down at the bottom. That's just the background of the text scroller. Like if you're talking about this thing. Yeah, I have a text scroller down there. Background on. Or is it this? No. So this rectangle is fades out the video, this user-defined video a little bit. And that user-defined video is like a static image of a CRT. Okay, I think that's going to conflict actually, because they're both dealing with opacities. So scrap that idea. I could put it into another grid and do that, but it's working, right? Okay. Let's see that one more time. Switch. It switches to here. The information comes in, and then quickly after, all of this data appears over the screen. There you go. And basically we're done. Thanks, Click Minios. One last thing that you have to know if you're a theme creator, that this theme or any theme needs to have two things. All right. Oh, you use BannerBox? That's awesome. Did you get the most recent version on the forums? To be honest, I don't know if I upgraded the one in the theme manager. I was sort of waiting to see how people were liking the one on the forums. Basically BannerBox version 2.0, which is a complete redesign. That's the wrong word. I changed the code behind it to utilize just regular box and clear logo images instead of its own banners. So the theme's no longer like 2 gigs plus all the other banners that you needed. It's much smaller. It does still need banners for the platform banners, just not for the games. And I want to know if people find any bugs. I kind of want to solve that. Okay, so back to this. 2 things that you have to know as a theme creator. Themes have to have a text list for both platforms and have to have text lists for game views. Those 2 views are called, if I can remember correctly, text filters view, which is the platform view. The reason it's not called platform view is because it's used for every single kind of filter in BigBox. So if you're filtering by categories or developers or whatever, this view is going to be used. And then for text games view, yeah, that's the one for games. And this one's actually used for both the games view and the game details view. And I will let's create those. So not much that we have to do here, to be honest. What's great is that we already have everything created. Let's start with the platform one. We're literally going to drag or copy this. We're going to paste it into the text filters view. And we're 90% done. You're using the older version with all the banners? That's cool. Yeah, that one's been around for so long. You know, it still works well if you're fine with creating a banner for every one of your games. You know, I created you can use the older copy of the community theme creator, create your own banners. I already have the template there and a video to support that. So I'm glad you've been enjoying that. All right, 90% there. What am I not there? Why does the backgrounds look like the opacity has changed, or is it just me? Interesting. Do I have a background? That is funny. Okay, so I mean, it might just be a visual bug. We've got a slight visual bug there of the backgrounds. It's okay. We'll figure that out later. Not a deal breaker. But in saying that, this is a different view, and because it's a different view, we have a different set of parameters for the wheel. It's actually no longer a wheel of clear logos. Instead, it is just a text list, so we need to theme that text list. And what I normally like to do, I don't have a normal thing actually. Let's just I was gonna say we should create a list that has a particularly small or skinny frame of, but you know, let's just do whatever. Like we could choose this condensed font, and then we can text align it to the center. Look at that, there's all the lists. And I don't want it to be full screen. Is it full screen? Let's do something like I did. Before I start changing all these sizes. What do I got here? Wait, so you're saying you want me to move this whole thing to the top just so that it doesn't get in the way with anything else? Although it's not really getting in the way, is it? But that's a good point. That's always a good idea. No, what I was saying, Dave and I don't know why. You'll see that the background is actually there. Oh no, never mind. I know why. I'm not smart. Never mind me. Okay, so what I was gonna do and what I was thinking of was, okay, so make the text list centered and maybe a bit smaller. But you have a good idea there, by the way. This is already gonna have what I don't want to have happen in this view. Yeah, let's make it happen. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create a frame. And I'm going to put that frame inside of this grid. And then this frame is going to be the size of this wheel. Okay. Not quite the same size, but I can fix that. Almost there. Whoa, okay. So I want this to be 1060. $188, $372. Will that change me being able to... okay, you just said the group, right? See if that makes any difference, eh? Okay, so the frame... I want this width to be 1060. Well, a little bug with that. That's okay. I'll just resize it and see if it takes the size. I mean, that's good enough for me. There you go. Cool. Okay, so then what I really wanted to do was maybe something kind of cool. So the foreground is the border color and the background's the background color. So I made it so there is a background at 50%, which is good. I want the color of the foreground. So I want to also do maybe some corner radius, maybe by 5. There you go. Thanks, Dave. Okay, how are we looking here? Sure, looks good. Let's make the size bigger. And I kind of always, something to always keep in mind is that the text, it does auto-center, but in order for it to be auto-centered, in order to have a center, you have to have an odd number of items on the screen. So I always count. And see how that's an even number. So I guess I can make it smaller or I can make it bigger. I think I'm going to make it bigger. How many times do I have to press it? There we go. There, no one go crazy. So I'm gonna make it bigger until I don't see TurboGrafx 16. It's already gone. So I gotta make it smaller. 29.5, or actually I should stop. 29's good. And what I'm gonna do is I'll just make the size of make the size a little bit smaller. I think that's okay. Maybe that's better. Yeah. And I think we're okay. Let me save that, although I do have to move the group down, don't I? And we're basically done. So let me move the group down and then we'll move on to the very last item on our list. Although in seeing that now, I kind of want the background to be a bit darker. All the way to 80 probably. Yeah, that's better. Okay, last thing that I did not show anybody is that you can theme the colors and all this stuff in there. It will take some coding to do at the moment. We do have presets though, so preset, you can always go through these presets, which there changes the colors and all this stuff, which is pretty cool. I will just show off some of these presets. I think these last ones are just the size of the selected item getting big. Okay, I actually like number 4. Let's go with number 4. That's pretty good for this. And what you'll actually see what it's doing is it's making it so if it was the selected item, give it this white background and change the color font to this black dark color that makes it look transparent. And that's what you got. So not too bad. Looks good. So, and just to show people what you could do is you could create, and I will probably create a video or a live stream, something like this in the future, is all of this code. I'll make this code make sense to you in one of the future streams. Until then, you can try to figure it out yourself. Take a look at it. It's always good to just play around. All right, save that. And I will use all of this. What's the best way? So this is the best way I'm going to do it. I'm going to take this game view that I've already finished, and I'm going to copy that into the text game view. All right. Now we'll see how much of this I can bring over. Okay, so I kind of want to bring over the frame, and I kind of want to bring over the wheel. I think I'm going to have to do this in 2 steps. Is that right? I'll start with the frame, see what happens. What happens if I paste the wheel? So it'll be here. I will paste right here. See what happens. Oh, it won't let me paste the wheel. It knew that I couldn't. I can still salvage this though. I might break the other theme. No, wait. I can do this without breaking the other theme. Or with the other, breaking the other view. Did the size change on the text? It didn't, but it Alright, let's go up to 30, see what happens. Alright. I think you're right. That's one way to do it. I was going to do it a different way. That probably makes less sense than that. Okay, so the only last thing that we have to do, obviously for people that are following, is that we need to make sure that the text view, or the text menu, looks the same as the one that I already created. Oops. I still kind of think you'd want to make it so you got to click that default button to get that menu to come up, and then click it again to get it down. Kind of flimsy, comes in and out. Okay, so you create a frame. I'll stick it in the grid. And then I will paste the properties, I guess. Something's definitely up with that pasting, but that's okay. I can fix that. Probably something to do with it being inside of a parent element. It keeps moving over. Ah, it's off the screen now. Okay. I can fix that. Okay, let's make this 1080. No, 1000, or was it 1060? No, it looks too big. I don't remember what the size was. I might just have to go over there and write it down by hand. Which is fine. Give me the opportunity to bring over the wheel attributes, or the game list attribute. Okay, so frames. We're at 480 by 203.5, and then 960 by 673. Let me copy the wheel. We are almost done an entire theme. Let's see if this works. Yeah, it's definitely too long, isn't it? Let's do that. And then I'll center it. Similar to me. Perfect. Okay, so then I will put the wheel inside of there. Oops. So what do we got? We want to keep the same. Hey, Tommy Lee. 67. Thanks so much. Hope you're enjoying some of the themes out there, whether mine or somebody else's. The point is to just enjoy all of these old games you used to play. Okay, so I'm probably gonna have to go through most of this, aren't I? Whoop. There, it's updated it. And cool. It's always great to have as much variety as you can. I think I did that. There you go. Okay. All right. I think we're done. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. That is so odd. Perfect again. Haha. Hey, Wolfgang. Hope you guys are doing good tonight, or morning, wherever you are. Wherever you are in the world, I think we are good here. That looks great. And there's only really one more thing. So just to recap, I'm just going to make sure that the font size is still okay here. That's weird. It's okay. We're creating this 4x3 theme to simulate CRT monitors. We went through the platform. Let's say we went through this one platform view, got it working. Works good. We went through this text filters view, got it working. Also looks good. Looks basically exactly the same. Then we went through getting the games view with the wheel to work. Clear logos. Basically the same. Also looks great. And then we pasted that into this text games view, which will be used for both a text list view if you want for games, or your game details view. And that leaves us with one last thing to do. And I'm not sure how great I'm going to say this, but because the text list view is used for both the text list and for the game details view, it causes a problem when we do animation. So you see my animation basically says display the text list when you're moving between games. The actual logic, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Dave, is when the name or the title of the game changes, trigger my animation to make it so that the text list appears. And then when you stop selecting an item and the game name stops changing, then fade it out. Fade out the game list, the text list. The problem is when you're in the game details page, your text list does not change. Or the game name does not change. And therefore, the animation is never triggered and you never see the list. And that's a problem. You can't see your list that you're choosing from. So there is a partial solution that does work at the moment. And this is called, it's a new trigger, or it is a trigger that's been around for a year or so. Maybe a year or so? Yeah, about a year. I think last summer. I'm going to apply to this. No, I'm just going to apply to the frame. I just want the frame to appear over the video. Ah, actually, this is going to cause a problem, isn't it? I painted myself into a corner. So even if I say to the frame, I want the frame to be there and trigger 100%, it will not trigger because the grid, the parent item, is set to 0%. I don't know, what did I do? Okay, I can fix this. Goodbye. Frame is no longer inside of there. I'm gonna have to paste the animation to the frame here. And why did pasting the animation break the... Okay, I don't know. and then I'm going to create a new trigger. So the trigger, you see that there's a fifth trigger here. It's this one. I'm guessing this one, Dave, is your placeholder. But this one, during game selection, game detail selection. So when you're in the game details and you move up or down, it will trigger this animation. And I basically want to say, make it 100%. If somebody's moving up or down, make that 100% visible. And I think we're done, other than that I gotta just reposition this stuff again one last time, and then we should be good to go. And the bugs that you might have seen in this video is just because I'm using a beta build. All of that will be ironed out as soon as this build gets put onto the forums. Right now, you can use, for a good portion of what I did, you can use the current forum build. It doesn't have any of these issues. It's missing only a slight amount of these features, like parenting. But a lot of the elements, everything that you could do here, you could probably simulate and do yourself as well. But we're basically done. Let's publish it, play with it a little bit, and that'll be a pretty positive first stream, I think. We got through an entire 4x3 CRT simulated theme for BigBox. All right, all published out. Let's take a look if there's problems. All right, so we've got platform wheel 1. So far, so good. We've got platform text list 1. Also, so far, so good. All right, so now go in. We've got text list view. Look at that. On top of that, if you press to the left, you get the index there. You can do searching. So if I want to try Streets of Rage, there's my 3 Streets of Rage games. And then I can go into the game details view. You see, if I click, this will stick around over everything. That was that final trigger that I put in there, making it so this will never fade out, because I never put a trigger to have it fade out, only to have it fade in. But it will fade out as soon as I go back to here, out of the game details view. So that's the power of that trigger. And the final view that we made today on the stream is the same view with the logos. There you go. I should probably exit out of There you go. Love playing those old Streets of Rage games. Cool. So overall, I think pretty good. You can see that you got the that Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition is rated a 4.1. It looks like it's a 2-player game. Up in the right hand side, you can see it is not rated. I guess with an ESRB, this is too old, and it was created by Capcom, as we all know. So this, pretty pretty cool, nifty little theme if you have one of those old LCD monitors in your cab. Another option for you.
You're an American secret agent.
What I will be doing is I will be releasing this theme on the forums, so look out for that, as well as releasing the community theme creator project files so that you can play around with it. But those project files will only come out once this version of the community theme creator comes out. So if you don't see it right away and you want to play around with it, ask me and I can let you know how close we are to me releasing these files, or else they wouldn't really be useful for you anyway. Other than that, this has been the first theme stream. I'm hoping to do this at least once a week, so if you are watching this later or you're here right now and I mean, you weren't prepared for this one and you have questions, you're making your own theme, come to this. I will not just be creating themes, I will not just be using the theme creator. I will be diving into the code some weeks. Some weeks I'll just be collecting your suggestions. If you have a theme that you want, send me a message on the forum, send me a message on the social media channels I'm on. I've got control and I can see all of the ones that we have, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you want. Just send me a message and I can look at creating a theme that you want on this stream. Or if you have any questions, I can answer them here on the stream anytime. I will probably pick a day. I'm not sure if Thursday is the best day for everybody. If not, I will just pick one. Maybe it's Thursday and I'll just stick with it. So like every Thursday afternoon, something like that. And then so you'll know where to find me anyway for the foreseeable future. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining today, or thank you so much for watching this video. If you're watching this later, I'm sure I'll be posting this on the community. I think there's a section, developer stream section on YouTube, so you can always reach out if you did not watch the full video or didn't have time to watch the full video and you want to see what kind of things I did. Until next time, until next week, we'll see you guys. Have a good one. Play around with BigBox. Hopefully have a great weekend with some great retro gaming. I know I will. Maybe I'll talk about my controllers. I'm really interested if you guys have any cool controller accessories, retro accessories. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. All right, see you guys. Take care, everyone.